Hey everyone, GameHounds podcast. We're actually 2 minutes early, and not early our late early our actual early, because Nick and I have a date and his
Yes.
wife.
We were going to get married again and then divorced again, this time on time.
Are we really?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't have to do it. No, we should do it today. We don't have to do it before we come over for the Super Bowl. But like afterwards, I just need you to come on for 10 minutes to marry me so that I can then trigger the divorce. That's all I need.
But didn't we already do that?
It took I didn't divorce in time. I think everything I've read says you have to do it within 48 hours. I've always taken longer.
Okay. Well, what we could do is we could get married before you come over and divorce before you leave.
No, because there's a 24-hour cooling period.
Oh. But
We can
are
we
we
can get
married or
married,
divorced at this point?
divorced. We
Okay.
can get married and trigger the divorce at the same time. The problem
Didn't we do
is
that once already?
so you can get married, trigger the divorce at the same time. That triggers a cool down period of 24 hours. After that 24 hours, then any one of you can confirm the divorce.
Okay, all right.
That 24 hours has gone by, then another 24 hours have gone by, then another 24 hours have gone by, and that's when I've logged in.
Got it. Okay, so you'll handle the finalization of our divorce.
Yeah, I'll handle all the paperwork, all the stamps, all the
Meet
signatures.
with with
I
the
can forge your
lawyers, get everything
signature. It's okay.
notarized.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cool. Then we'll do that. Married and divorced. But you'll have to bring over your computer.
You mean my PlayStation?
Yeah. Well, we'll get married before you leave.
Yeah, we can. I just need you to hop on for 5 minutes. That's all.
All right. I'll
That's all.
hop on for 5 minutes and we
We
will
can do
get
it
married and
before the Super
divorced.
Bowl. We can do it after the Super Bowl.
Okay. But if we do it while you're here, you won't have access to your PlayStation.
Yeah, I can't do it while
Right.
we're here.
Okay.
Ironically, we
Mhm.
can't get married in person.
Has to be virtual.
Yeah, we're talking about where wins meet.
Yeah. All right. So let's start the show.
Okay.
And then we will it's going to be, I'm not going to say a short show because none of our shows are short, but Nick is coming over for the Super Bowl later. So I still got to do a little bit of cleanup around here. I got to do some prep.
That's
make
like
some
3:30.
room.
That gives us 3.5 hours. Plenty of time.
Yeah, but this is the podcast. It easily goes
Plenty
to
of
3:30.
time.
All right. Hey, C Wraith. Hey, Jelly Garden.
Hey.
Can you join our live stream? No, unfortunately. I don't know who you are, Andrea. But if you were one of our regulars, like one of our former co-hosts, would love to have you. Just not today. This is not the day to start going off the reservation because we are on a tight schedule. Nick's not. I am because I'm hosting. All right, so let's start the show. Hey, Margaret M. and Emma. Why do I have a feeling these are all the same people? They're all saying exactly the same thing. This is suspicious.
Yeah, they've
All
all got the name and followed by a couple numbers.
Yeah.
That's like all.
You're sus. You are already sus. You need to prove to us you're not sus. Let's start the show.
Proof to us. What's 7
This
times
podcast
3?
discusses video games, pop culture, and technology, and these podcasters have big, fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom said to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode, what episode is it? 808. We are recording this on Sunday, February 8th. Oh, wow, it's all eights. 888.
Except for the 2.
2026. well, in 2026, but still, that's pretty cool.
What
I'm
is
Edie
where it
Sellers.
says there's a certain word in the title? What?
Uh,
What word is
uh,
that?
yeah, don't know. Anyway, the GameHounds podcast 808, recording this on February 8th, 2026. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola right over there, and Shepherd, the
Yes,
cat
Ann
that
Shepherd.
loves more
And
than any cat has ever loved.
before we were talk questioning like who's a bot and who's not, and to their credit, Monk VR gives cookies, says I'm not them.
Okay, hi, Monkey.
Corrections.
I think he's Monkey
Corrections are
VR.
like, okay,
Right.
Monkey VR.
You're in the club. You're in the human club. So what is this problematic word in the title? The title of the show
it
is
problematic?
GenAI. GenAI is problematic.
Wait, why?
I mean, it is.
Yeah, but that's like
That's in the
well,
news. I don't
welcome
wanna
to
do the news before the news.
2022.
Yeah, but there's a new villain on the scene, and
Okay,
it's not a surprising villain. Let's just say.
he's Pokemaster says both words, all of them.
I'm not quite sure. Anyway, how are you? Nick and I saw each other yesterday. Pilot Chris was in town, and we went to breakfast and then played a board game, which was actually a lot of fun. Nick cheated.
I did not cheat.
You always cheat.
I did not cheat, but we can talk about that. We played Moon Rollers, which was
Yes.
actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I forget, Chris had got it for me for either Christmas or birthday or something, but we hadn't broken into it yet. So when he came over, we thought, yeah, this is the time. And it's a really awesome game that kind of has a simple premise and rules.
Board game.
But yeah, it's a board game. Card dice game.
Yeah.
It at its core, it's a push your luck dice game where you have several crew members that you're trying to recruit, and each of those crew members require you to satisfy certain resource requirements. And you roll a set of dice to satisfy those requirements. And there's a possibility that you can roll extra die. So it's a matter of roll, see what you can satisfy. Do you want to keep going? I don't know. I've got some extra die. How far do you want to push your luck? But what's neat is that everyone is kind of all working towards the same goal. So they're all trying to hire the same people. So that means every requirement I satisfy that I don't hire that person kind of makes it easier for the next person to hire them. So a lot of the strategizing is I'm going to satisfy 2 requirements on this one character, but I'm not going to satisfy the hardest requirement because I want to try to disincentivize other people from going after him. But because of that, to win the game, it's not really about who you hire, it's about the points. So if you want to get a lot of points, you need to satisfy those hard requirements, even if that makes it easier for other people to then take that character. So there's this push and pull between trying to satisfy the requirements to get points, because if you satisfy that requirement and someone else hires them, you still get the points. So it's this push and pull of trying to get the points versus getting the characters who have abilities that you can use to augment your rolls and make it easier then to satisfy things in the future. Maybe if you roll an extra die, you can use that as a resource instead of an extra die. I got one card last night after you all left. Me and Rachel kept playing.
Oh, really? Good.
Oh yeah, where if I rolled and I didn't roll a power symbol, I could then take a extra die and roll that again, but I could only use it if it was a wild or an extra die. So at one point, I was rolling to try to get this guy to try to hire him, rolled, none of the symbols matched. So in a normal situation, I would have busted and I would have lost all the progress that I made that round. But since I had that card, I could roll, and I didn't roll a power symbol, I could roll 1 extra die. Rolled that, it was a wild, which satisfied the requirement and allowed me to take the guy. So the characters are very useful, but it's this push and pull of I need to hire the characters versus I need to get the points. Do I want to hire them? Do I want to get the points? And it's this constant strategic tug of war that makes for a really, really interesting game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of different ways to play it. I realized as I'm watching this now, the ultimate win strategy that ends up with you not hiring a single person,
Yeah, you could
but making
absolutely
all
win.
the points.
Exactly. If you satisfy all the top requirements, but other people get the card, you still get a lot of points from that.
Yeah, yeah, because it's ultimately comes down to how many points that you have. And
Andrew says this looks crazy. I think it looks more complicated than it is.
it really isn't that complicated.
When we were starting to get into it, it felt like, oh, there's a lot of rules. What are we doing? But once you understand the basics, everything else kind of naturally falls into place.
Yep. And it's the only downside of not hiring a character and letting someone else hire the character and give you most of the points from that card is that every person that you hire gives you another little perk. Each of those characters have a perk that allows you to be able to, you know, get some goodies and make your life a lot easier in future roles. That being said, you can only use one. This is how Nick cheated because we didn't read the rules all the
I
way and
didn't
leave it to
cheat.
Rachel to actually read the small print. You can only use, there's 5 different factions. You can only use one factions. The factions are denoted by the different colors.
Yeah,
You can
so there's
only use
blue,
one
orange,
faction's
red.
perks, and Nick was using all the perks from all the cards, even though they were from the same faction. So it kind of gave him an unfair advantage that he just ran the table in the first game.
Yeah, it gave me an unfair advantage, except for the fact that everyone else was playing with the same rules. It's just none
Well,
of
yeah,
you.
you had a ton of cards, though.
Exactly. We were all playing with the same rule set. I was just playing better than the rest of you. Andrew asks, "What a lackluster third today?"
Sure. But it's going to have to be a fast, lackluster third, young man.
It's on Thursday because that's on you guys.
Well, it's because
Thursday,
you're
Nick.
coming over, so yeah.
No, Thursday, Nick.
It's
The
Thursday Nick.
classic asshole.
Yeah, that's true. Let's not do the classic asshole.
No, we played that.
move.
Played that on Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a really cool game, and this is actually a spin-off of a bigger game called Moonrakers, which is more of a tactical kind of cooperative shipbuilding game. It's similar in that you're trying to satisfy resources, but you're using cards instead of dice. And we haven't played that one, but that's just a much kind of bigger, more complicated version of this. And Chris also said that there's a co-op version of that game that you could download an app for.
Oh,
it's only for iPad. We learned this when I tried to download it. But the Moonraker co-op game that you can use with an app is it's free because you need the board game to play it. The app is like a supplemental thing. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play this. It's really cool. So
it was fun.
Chris, if you're watching, thank you.
And short, which was actually really nice too.
Yeah, we played like 3-4 games in an hour.
We played 2 games in an hour, and then you guys played another couple with just the 2 of you.
Yeah.
And most of that hour was learning how to play the game.
As you do with any board game.
Right. But once it took, maybe a quarter of the first game to really get into the groove of what you were doing. And then it's a fast game, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Good board game, good game, and the fact that 2 people can play just as easily as 4 people or 5 people is awesome. Hey, Chaos, how are you?
Hey there.
Hey.
We just woke up, so great.
Good morning.
Just rolled out of bed.
Close to. It's been about an hour.
So we are doing like I said, shorter show because Nick is coming over.
That's the co-op game.
for Moonraker's Luminor. Okay, that's the
Also available on
co-op game.
PC. That's good to know.
Yeah. Nick's coming over for Super Bowl, so I have to still do some stuff around the house and also prep some food and liquor.
I forgot
We
the
are
Super Bowl's
having
happening.
banana bread old fashions and something called a prestige, which I've had
Prestige.
both, and they're delicious.
It's gonna make
Nick,
me gonna make us a master at Call of Duty.
every time you prestige, you have to drink an entire pitcher
Yeah.
of those. So what else did you play, Nick?
First of all, and I can keep this short, I
Mhm.
saw the movie Iron Lung.
Right.
I fucking loved it.
Chris hated it. Claire thought it was good. He absolutely hated it, was totally lost the entire time. Said there was not enough explanation of what the hell was going on.
And what's funny is
it was bad, according to him.
it gives you more information than the game does.
What? That's a bad thing.
Like, and it's not bad, because I think he wants too much information. I think it gave you just enough information to kind of go with it, to get the basics. It does get weird in the end. What I really loved about it, the game takes this like deeply cosmic horror premise where all planets and suns with life vanished in an instant, and only the people that are left are on space stations. And then they find these moons full of blood. That is a fucking awesome cosmic horror premise. But the game uses that premise as kind of window dressing for what is a much more grounded horror story of just trying to navigate a maze that you can't see. You're just kind of using a map and using a basic grid to kind of move a sub through a labyrinth without hitting the walls. Much more like low-key type of horror. The movie embraces the cosmic horror. It goes full fucking weird. And there's a certain point in the movie when it just like blows up and it's just like, oh my God. And at that point, I thought, I don't care what happens next. I love this movie. This is everything I wanted it to be. The next 30 minutes could just be a black screen and I won't care. This is what I want. This is what I was hoping the game would be. And yeah,
Glad you liked it.
All credit to Markiplier. That dude is like a good actor. He handles like the really serious dramatic scenes really well. And he directed the movie too. Some of the direction is really fucking clever and interesting. The way he moves the camera through this like tiny tight space is really interesting. The way that he zooms in on different aspects, he's like makes this macro view of his hand, like just pushing a lever forward. Simple things that are just like good camera tricks to add tension and drama and excitement to, a guy sitting on a chair. But I loved it. I thought that the mystery at the core of it was interesting. I liked watching him go through the process of solving it. I know other people have said, oh, it's like watching someone play a video game because he's just looking at a map and scouting it out. But I don't know. I find that interesting to see someone go through the nuts and bolts of kind of solving a problem. I thought it was well done.
Have you seen any of like his responses to the movie coming out and stuff?
Some of them, yeah, just him like thanking people for making it really successful because it really blew up, and I'm really glad that it did.
It did, and he went over a letterbox review by H Bomber Guy.
Okay.
I hope everyone knows who H Bomber Guy is. I hope.
Isn't he one of the shitty right wing people?
No,
he's not.
He's a YouTuber. He does generally long form content now. His last one was the what do you call it? The plagiarism video.
I don't know that.
That hit up like a year and a half ago. Essentially, like called out a ton of people about plagiarism, particularly one person. But he's not right leaning.
Okay, good.
But something that Mark that was mentioned in the review was that there's something very similar to this movie in being a YouTuber, and that you're just alone in your room, like
Hmm.
in the dark for hours doing these things. And it really hit Markiplier hard that there was a lot of similarities to his career in YouTube, and then like what happens in this movie, not necessarily with like all the cosmic horror stuff, but just that sense of isolation and working 14 hours a day. Like, he got really emotional and like teared up about it.
I
Oh,
can see
wow.
that. I can see that, especially of just, what is it about this movie and this premise that attracted you to it? And it's like, if you look at the psychological aspect, I could absolutely see that.
Yes, he's very left leaning.
Okay, I
PC
might have
Ray
heard him
says, as a
taking.
matter of fact, he openly leans left wing. You might have heard him taking down right wing stuff.
Okay, that
If you
could be
haven't
it.
seen it, go see his stuff. He hasn't had anything for like a year and a half, but that's because he's been working on a Adobe video where he was going to talk about Adobe, and it was
Oh,
going to be short, and then it just kept growing, and now he's been working on it for a year and a half.
yeah. H Bomber Guy puts out some of the best videos, but he
So
puts them
good.
out like once a year.
Okay.
But they are long form, deep dive, investigative, and the plagiarism one was just scathing.
That blew up. He
Yeah,
has
it blew
a
up.
he has a 3.5 hour video about how mid Deus Ex Machina is and how it shouldn't be, and I watched that whole thing. It's amazing.
The
I
game.
watched, yes,
No,
like
yeah, the game.
Deus Ex Machina, like, or Deus Ex, my bad, not Machina, but Deus Ex. He goes over it, essentially
Hmm.
just how mid it is for 3.5 hours, and he did it just to see how long he could keep people watching, and it's popular. Everyone watched it, like, that were fans.
Okay, I'll have
Mhm.
to check him out.
Yeah, if you
But yeah,
haven't seen
I
H Bomber Guy, he's almost someone. If I were ever going to lean into full time, like if I wanted to make my perfect channel, that's what I would do because he's
okay.
fantastic.
He's amazing. I
Yeah,
also want to go
I
ahead.
just wanted to Iron Lung to like put a bow on the topic. I found it awesome. I loved it. Can't wait to buy it, watch it again because I think it's out of theaters now. I think it was only in there for a week. Uh
The people are asking for a physical media release of it, and he's trying to
oh,
work that out.
yes, and I will absolutely get that because it's an awesome movie. But yeah,
Um,
surprised me how much I liked it more than the game.
one more quick Markiplier fact. I don't. Do you know where his name came from? Because like you
Mm-mm.
mentioned how good of an actor he is, right? And
Yeah.
despite like doing just crazy YouTube stuff, that was always his plan. And apparently, Markiplier came from the
Oh.
fact that his initial concept was he was going to do like multiple versions of him talking to himself and doing skits and like acting stuff out. So multiple marks,
Mm.
mark to like multiplying mark,
He
and
had a
that's
whole
where
plan to be an actor, and then he got derailed by playing video games.
literally what happened. Yes. So like this was always his goal, was to make movies, to act in it, stuff like that, and it's really good to see it come like to fruition.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So anything else you played?
Yes, I had talked last week about playing Karen, CA, like the climbing game,
Mhm. Mhm.
but then I played a different game. And I want to talk about this because Edie, you contributed to like one of the most surreal moments of my life unexpectedly. So, Simulacra is a phone game, and it's one of the phone games that simulates a phone. The premise is that it's a kind of horror game. The premise is that you find this woman's phone on your doorstep and you kind of pick it up and you start going through it to figure out whose is it? Whose phone is this? You get text from her boyfriend, and then you get messages on a dating app from someone that she was talking to, and you kind of spend a while with these two different guys going, wait, who are you? What are you doing with her phone? Oh, what happened? Where is she? Oh, we have to find her. I'm going to help her. You're talking to she has a boyfriend? Yeah, oh, he probably did something. She's talking to someone on a dating app? He probably did something. So you have these two like angel and demons on your shoulder pointing you in different directions. Uh and it plays out as kind of a Telltale-esque conversation puzzle game, because a lot of the text messages, you just tap the screen and it gives you options for how to respond. So you're not typing anything out yourself. And then you'll get into situations where, oh, I need the password to her email. How do I get that? What is the password? Oh, it's the birthday of her cat. How am I going to find the birthday of her cat? And it's like, I'm going to scroll through her pictures until I see one of the cat in a birthday hat. And it's like, oh, that's the date. But what's neat about the game is it kind of understands the inherent creepiness of what you're doing. There's one point where the guy on the dating app says, oh, I'll give you this information if you give me a picture of her. She said she would send me a picture. And it's like, okay, you can go through her photos, and there's plenty of pictures of her cat, of her with her friends. There's also one of her like taking a selfie at the gym in tight gym clothes. And so I ended up sending one that was just her smiling at the camera. And his response was, oh, that's not what I was looking for. It's like, okay, the game knows what it's doing. But if you're looking at the video, every time someone sends you a message, like with an iPhone, a little notice pops down from the top. You know, bing, someone sent you a message. Bing, someone sent you a message. So I'm playing this. I'm just kind of sitting on the couch and I'm playing. It's kind of creepy. It's like it's going more. And I hear this knock and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who's knocking at the door? It's like, oh, that's weird. And then I'm playing more and I hear a whisper. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And I kind of realize, oh, it's doing this Eternal Darkness stuff where the game is kind of creating ambient noise, but it's whispers and knocks. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And so I'm kind of playing, getting more into this. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Every now and then your phone starts freaking out a little bit. It's like, there's something weird going on here. It's not just this missing girl. There's like some fucking supernatural thing going on. And I'm like just going through her, and all of a sudden I get a text from Edie. Have you seen Strange Harvest? And I'm like just tapping, tap. What? Edie? What the what? And for a moment I wasn't sure what was real. I was like, did it take over my contacts list and like look at who is on my contacts and send me a message? Strange Harvest. Why? How does it know about Strange Harvest? And then I tapped the message and it opened the text app. And I was like, oh my God, it's an actual text message. But there's that brief moment where like I wasn't sure what was real. And I think that's really, really cool.
That's awesome. Actually, this is how short is it? It reminds me a little bit of a Lost Phone. Remember that one?
Yes, yeah, it is a lot like that, but way more horror focused.
Got it.
And it's only like an hour and a half to 2 hours. There are multiple endings. You're meant to replay it. Gets a little weird in the end in a way that I also kind of appreciate.
Mhm.
This game came out in 2017, way before anyone had heard of ChatGPT or OpenAI. But it's kind of big horror premise of, you know, our digital lives replacing our physical lives kind of feels more relevant now than it did back then.
Mhm.
So there are 2 sequels, and I'm actually really excited to play each of those.
Nice.
That's a great premise for just like kind of that Telltale formula of just good character writing and like playing through that kind of stuff on your phone. It's a great idea.
Yeah. The writing is like good for the most part, but every now and then it's like you know, you see a video, someone takes a video and it's like, okay, these are all kind of amateur actors. It comes from a
Yeah,
Malaysian studio. No one uses contractions. No one says your or I'm. It's always I am, you are. So there's a kind of like, that's interesting. But it never feels like poorly written.
yeah. I mean, just looking through when you had the video up, there were pictures of like people for their Tinder pictures. It was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, you can see where like that was how that was taken, and I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah, there's also a free game called Simulacra pipe dreams.
Did you have to pay for it?
Yeah, I bought it and the 2 other games.
The 2 other games? Oh, okay.
It'd be a great game to pull that, like, it pulls your contacts and, like, puts that up there. It'd be a great game for that.
Right? I feel like there's some privacy issues around that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
I would have
man,
a problem
you could,
with that.
you could fucking scare people. That would be interesting.
That's a dare I say out loud, it sounds like a really good possible game for using generative AI.
I was just thinking that, like, so in a world
Well,
where privacy concerns weren't, like, terrible, if it could go through your text log and make, like, an LLM really quick about, like, that person, just, like,
Mhm.
try to mimic them, terrible
Like,
idea. Don't do that. That's
I
dystopian.
I
That would
don't
be
think
bad.
so. I don't think so because the way it's structured, you'll be talking with someone, having a conversation with them, and then that conversation will end. You'll get a little thing that says like this person is offline. And that's a clue that okay, stop talking to this person and go solve the puzzle. And so there's a nice structure to the game where you're talking to the person and then you exhaust all of their dialogue. And so you know I've got all the clues that I need to solve the puzzle. Let me go try to solve it. If it's an LLM, it will just keep going.
Mhm.
And at that point, it's like, no,
But you
it's
can code that in. You can code in, don't only to talk for this amount of time or only
maybe, but like
cover this
then
and
you
then
get
stop.
off topic and you can do that. And what's works about this game is that everything's on topic. It's structured, it's written, it's
There's
got
a
a
lot of
tight
problems here.
it's got a tight script, and that tight script is what kind of keeps you focused, keeps you in the mood, kind of keeps the atmosphere good and spooky. If you expand it, I think you lose all of that.
It's coffee time.
It's coffee time. It's the weekly coffee time.
Are we not
Yep.
allowed to mention when it's happening? Or are we
Well, I
just supposed
didn't
to
want
let
to
it happen?
interrupt.
You can
I
mention it.
didn't want to interrupt. That's all it was.
Yeah,
But
anyway,
it is
that's what I've been
the
playing.
requisite coffee break in the middle of the show.
hmm So yeah, I'm done. That's what I've been playing. Moon Roller Simulacra. I'll talk about Karen another time.
All right. So did you play Karen?
hmm But
Good things.
I haven't played it for a week because I got distracted playing Simulacra and other things.
Got it. Well, of course, you want to move on to news just as I'm making a cup of coffee. So hold on a moment.
I have a game I can briefly talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nick, if you want to do a banner for it.
yeah.
2 years old, too late to this party, but Jedi Survivors, Star Wars
Oh,
Jedi Survivors.
yeah.
I forget if there's another thing to it. I always want to call it Fallen Order, but that's the first one. So I finally beat that. If I had talked about it last week, it probably would have been not as a positive.
That's is that the first one or the second one?
It's the second one.
Okay.
So I played through it. I took about probably 45 hours to get pretty much everything done, minus a few things. Sadly, my achievements broke halfway through it on PC.
Oh no!
So, and I've
What's
not
the
been able to
point
fix
of
it.
What's the point of collecting a collectible if you don't get credit for the collectible?
I know. That's actually part of my problem. So I want to say that the game's mostly fun. I enjoyed my time with it. It wasn't so bad that I wanted to stop. And if you're going
Okay.
to pick it up, AC Wraith mentioned this last week, but it can get really cheap. It's gone down to $8.50.
That's pretty good for like a AAA game.
Yes. So I mean, for $8.50, you can't go wrong with that. But know that there are some performance issues. There are some bugs, but it's mostly okay. I recommend motion blur because there's a lot of like stuttering that happens, and motion blur kind of helps with that. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, 88% off. It's hard to argue with that.
Wow.
For $8.50, it's not a bad game. It also has been out for 2 years. Anyways, down to the review side of things. I had my biggest concern and my biggest problem with it is when you play Fallen Order, the first one, it is mostly linear. you have some side paths and you can go back, but it is mostly land in a mission, make your way through the level, doing the parkour challenges and combat encounters.
Yeah,
And then
it felt like it was inspired by Souls-like games. It was
yes,
kind of structured very similarly to that.
and with this new one, it does a more open world approach. And it's more, I would almost say, Metrovania in a way, where like you go back and you get upgrades, and then you come back and you unlock different parts of like areas. I think this is a disservice to the game.
Mm,
The story has you jumping between like 4 planets, 4 maps for most of it. And so you'll go to an area, they're like, oh, we need to go back here. Oh, you go there, you unlock something, and you're like, okay, we have to go back to the other planet. I didn't really know that's how the game would work. So it's open world. So what I do in an open world is like go explore. And I
yeah.
think you're almost punished for that, because there's
Ah,
so many times that you'll
Oh.
get to an area and it's like, am I not knowing how to get past this, or do I not have the tools to get past this? Is there a way that I can get past this without the tools that they want you to have?
is this a
And
puzzle or is this a like blocking point?
yes,
Yeah.
and I'm the kind of player who spends so much time focusing on trying to solve the thing in front of me, to like my detriment of enjoyment. Like,
Mm,
if I miss this, I'm going to be sad. So I don't want to miss this,
like, how
only to
the
find out.
fuck do I get this chest? God damn it! What am I missing?
AC Wraith has something that's, if you want to put that
Yeah,
up.
he says there's a bug with a door that you can't interact with and have to either mess with your backup save, perform a ridiculous stunt, or hope a cheat tool works.
I never ran into that, thankfully.
That's
Um,
good.
yes. So I I I think it screws with the pacing of an
Hmm.
otherwise fine Star Wars story. Um, to have the open world elements the way they do, because again, I want to go explore everything that's available to me. So
Yeah,
I
that's the point of
spend
an open world.
I spend 5 to 10 hours to realize that I can't do 3/4 of the things that I can do there, or I've missed it, when I should have just been playing the story, because I unlock like the next mission, I'll unlock another
Uh,
transversal tool to get through. I think this isn't great. Like with a 2D Metrovania, you run into a problem you can't solve, and it's like, oh, you need a double jump, you need a zip line. That's very clear. But
Mhm.
with a 3D
yeah,
environment, it's like, well, I mean, there might be other ways I can get through this.
yeah. Is there a secret path that I'm missing somewhere else?
Yeah. Um, and you jump back and forth so much that, like, okay, if you don't have the tool now, when you come back, you might be able to have it then, and like there will be a story reason to come back here. I don't know this as I'm playing.
Yeah,
So if I played it where I focused primarily on just doing the story beats and then some side exploration like along the way, I probably could have shaved 10 to 15 hours off
wow.
my game and still gotten everything that I got. And that doesn't sit well with me.
It
Um,
shouldn't.
It sounds like it's a good game that's just kind of undone by poor pacing or like not properly explaining its structure to the player.
and I understand that part of that's on me. Like the poor pacing is because I want to touch everything.
Yeah, but like that's what you do in an open world. Look, since gaming had 3D worlds, even before then, if a game tells you to go right, you go left to see
Exactly.
what's left, and then you go right. This has always been like core to the gaming experience. And so to not to not develop your game with an understanding of that feels like the developer's failure.
And then you throw in that like in the game, each area kind of has a collectible that you can find, and it is a currency for a shop that you can buy. So there's like
Hmm.
60 to 100 collectibles on these map as you're going through, and most of them are pretty obvious and easy to find. But like, oh, there's a left path that I have to go. It's just a little quick jumping puzzle, and then you get this like currency. And that did not feel like a great use of a side path. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, you want something more at the end of the puzzle.
so this was my experience, and the story, like I said, is mostly fine. I felt that the back 10%, when like major things happen and there's a twist and you get to the final like stretch of the story, was actually so good.
Oh,
Like, you could call probably one of the twists, but not in the way that they did it. And when I was mentioning it last week, I hadn't done that back 10%. So I would have been coming
mm,
at you with like a mediocre to like slightly above mediocre story that I've played so far, with terrible pacing because it's open world and not really a structured thing. But that 10% is
if you
pretty
nail,
good.
people remember endings. If you nail that ending, that means a lot.
They managed to nail the dismount here, and I'll give them that. And one thing
Okay.
with these Star Wars games, Fallen Order, it's why I liked it. It had its problems, was they nail a good Star Wars vibe. They do a
Okay.
good job there. So if you want to play a Star Wars game, they're great for that. Um, Overall, $8, $8.50. You can't beat that. Like,
Would you recommend this above the Ubisoft one,
I haven't
Outlaw?
I haven't played that one.
Okay.
From what I'd seen, yes. Uh, oh, one last thing I wanted to add. That was also a problem with the open world elements of the game, is I don't think they added enough to the combat sandbox to make that 10, 15 extra hours like as engaging as it should be. If combat's serviceable, it's as good if not better than Fallen Order, but it's not good enough that I'm going to be sitting 10 and 15 hours extra combat playing
Mm.
with it.
You're still just kind of hacking and slashing.
Yeah, so in the first one you had three stances: dual wield, double bladed lightsaber, and like single handed lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
This one they had two more stances, and how it works is you can have two stances at once. And uh
Oh, this
you can
do the
swap.
stances give you an advantage to certain enemies, like in Neo or Tsushima?
Not intentionally, but there are stances that work better against other enemies just by the nature of the like combo set. So
Okay.
for instance, there's crossguard, which is like a two-handed set, like a weapon set, and then a blaster, which you get a gun. It's really cool to have a gun as a Jedi. I'm just saying. Um, but the blaster has a long like forward dash attack that like you stab, and that is incredibly useful against really heavy enemies. That if you're close for too long, you get hit and like take almost all your life. So like that's good versus like something that tacks a little slower. The two-handed guard stance like works better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you want to be nimble so you can get away quick.
Yeah. Um. However, each one has like a basic square combo. They have a forced heavy attack, and then like a lightsaber throw to varying degrees about like animation and effect, and then maybe one other thing with it. So you spend most of your time parrying and hitting square. Maybe you throw the lightsaber. Maybe you change between one of the two stances out of the five that you can have equipped, whereas you need to go to like a rest point or a workshop to change your stances so you don't get 3/5 of the combat tools that you would get combat wise, like when you're doing stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that makes the combat sandbox very limited while you're trying to do all this extra stuff. If you
Hmm.
gave me more combos, more interesting like attacks, I feel like they would be less. It would be more fun to play. A
Yeah.
higher skill ceiling. Does that make
Like,
sense?
let you switch between all of the stances, like in Neo and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. I think that would have gone a long way to help evolve the like make the open world more fun and more interesting.
Yeah, AC Wraith added that the door glitch is also on consoles where you have even less options.
That's crazy. It's crazy that this game
That
got
sucks.
essentially 7 updates from the very beginning. It was in a bad state technically.
Yeah, I remember hearing that it launched really bad on PC. I think on consoles too. It just had a bad launch, a lot of bugs.
Console wasn't as bad from a like technical standpoint. I'm not sure about bugs, but
Okay.
PC was terrible.
Oh yeah,
And that's
performance.
Yeah, and that's why I waited to get it for so long. I actually bought it when it was $20.
You paid twice as much as you could have.
I did, like a year ago, and that was before I upgraded my PC. And when I was trying to play it with my last card, I never felt like it was a good experience, so I waited. I finally upgraded. I played it now. It's a good time. Like,
Okay.
it's not bad. If that's the experience you want. If you want Star Wars, it's a good time. If you're looking just for a game to play, I don't necessarily know if I recommend it.
The setting, I guess the setting is doing all the heavy lifting.
It really is. Yes.
Okay.
So, but that last 10%, really good.
Okay.
Like,
if you can
really...
get through the last 40 hours, the last 5 hours really kick ass.
Yeah, kind of. It does interesting things with Cal as a character that sets up 3 that I'm interested in.
Is there going to be a 3? Like, was this one
yes.
did it actually do well enough?
It was. The idea was a trilogy for this.
Okay.
Like one of a classic
that
Star Wars trilogy.
That doesn't mean that they'll just stop halfway. EA will absolutely stop halfway.
They said they're in production.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. I guess slight spoilers, like if anyone cares, like AC Wraith, give me like 20 seconds. One of the things that they do is like they dive into Cal kind of going dark. And seeing like, I mean, you're fighting the Empire, shit's been happening. You don't really have like the Jedi Order that you used to. So it's a lot more risk, like to go dark side, and they start playing with that towards the end. And I'm interested to see how they evolve that in the 3rd game.
AC Ray says the main character actor is my second favorite Joker.
Yes.
When did he play the Joker?
Gotham.
Oh, okay. And then he says,
is he in that?
Then he says, my first favorite is also a Star Wars alum, which I assume is the animated series. Why am I blanking on his name? Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Yes.
It's sad that he won't do Joker anymore.
I think it's good. Like he had his peak. Let that peak stay peak. Don't come back and revisit your old work in a way that like ruins it. Don't make a sequel to Independence Day. There's nowhere to go but down.
No, well, see what happened was he had retired from it, but he was coming back occasionally, and I didn't know why. It was because he would always work with Kevin Conroy to do whenever he was Batman, he would be his Joker, no matter what project it was.
I like that.
Now that he's passed, he's done.
Yeah, he's like, I'm your Joker.
They had a good working like profession because they've been doing it for years, and he had a lot of respect for the man, and he was his Joker.
I can respect that. I respect that.
But yes, that was my Star Wars journey.
Okay, Edie, do you have any games, or do you want to jump into news?
I actually have something just off the off the topic, but you brought up Ubisoft, and it reminded me. So I saw 2 movies last week. I saw Dracula, the new Dracula, and I saw last night, I saw Shelter, which is a smaller film.
Yeah.
It's out and around, and it's been out for a little while. But I happened to notice that the assistant director was Ben Burtt, and Ben Burtt is the sound guy for Star Wars. And I'm like, he was an assistant director on this? And it was only a little while afterwards that I realized that it's Ben Burtt with 1 T instead of 2 T's. So it's a different Ben Burtt. And it was much later as I'm driving home. I'm like, wait a minute. But because I went and saw that, I said, we have to watch all of the credits. Because I wanted to see who did the sound, because I was thinking it was Ben Burtt, the sound guy, who was the assistant director. I'm like, well, then who did the sound? Is it because Kevin was on Ben Burtt's team? And I'm like, oh, who else was on Kevin's team?
Yeah, any
obviously
other names to recognize?
Yeah. So as we're watching it, the credits are rolling, And I did not realize that Ubisoft has a movie division. Did you know that Ubisoft has a movie division?
I knew that they had a division that did movie stuff, but I thought it was always related to trying to get their adaptations of their games.
Yeah, no, this was they were some part of the technical making of the film, and unfortunately, I can't remember what it was, but it was in the visual effects area of it. And yeah, there's an Ubisoft division that worked on Shelter. It
There's a
wasn't
real
just a movie or like a release or a production or a publishing part of it. It was actually materially affecting the creation of the film.
the real question is, does that still exist?
Well,
'Cause things
point.
have been rough for Ubisoft.
That's
and I'm-
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, the
it's gotta
movie
be
just
a
came out,
separate
but it was probably worked on by Ubisoft multiple years ago.
Yeah.
And the
Hmm.
sound, of course, was done. It wasn't the right Ben Burt. It was a different Ben Burt. Didn't realize that until later. But the sound was done at Pinewood Studios in England. So, which is like the Skywalker sound of England is Pinewood.
Hmm.
But it was one of those like Ubisoft worked on this, on the visual effects of this, and Chris was like, well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, video game got that's kind of what they do. Is visual effects.
Man, from what I hear though, like any video game studio trying to get into visual effects, that's getting into a harder business. You think video games are fucked. The
Yeah.
VFX business is even worse.
Yeah, and thank you for the link, AC Ray. He has linked to the Ubisoft Film and Television division, which is on the Ubisoft website.
I wonder if the thought that there's less risk with working on CGI for movies than like making a game and having it flop.
But there's not less risk
Because you get paid, period.
No, well, you get paid, but the whole way the VFX industry works is everyone's undercutting everyone else. So yeah, you get paid, but you get paid enough that you can't stay in business. Infamously, the company that did the VFX for Life of Pi won the Oscar for best VFX after they had already shut down and went bankrupt because Life of Pi didn't pay them enough money.
That reminds me of Sonic.
Ah.
The first Sonic movie when that came out and everyone complained.
Yeah.
And then they redid everything. It was great. And they're like, oh yeah, we had to lay off all the staff.
No,
And also-
VFX is terrible.
I sent this to Nick as an article, and both to Nick and Chaos that I might as well hit it, even though it's technically news, but since we're talking movies. Baldur's Gate TV series.
Oh, yeah. This is
coming
absolutely
out.
news. Let's jump into news.
All right, well then let's jump. Let's do that then. Let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming. The gamer Edie and Nick Dinakoa and Chaos. And our first item is.
Oh wait, you're kind of quiet. Gotta wait for the music to stop.
Okay, hold on a second. I'll
Okay, there
just
you go.
make
You're
the
good.
music stop. There is a announcement that there is going to be a new HBO series of Baldur's Gate run by the showrunner who did The Last of Us.
I want to interrupt for a second. Edie, you are so used to calling me Creation Chaos that like my name is on the screen and you still couldn't say my name.
Andrew Smith. His name is Andrew Smith. All right, there you go.
It's fine. It was
Andrew
funny.
Chaos.
I could see your mind like saying my gamer tag and not like processing that it's not on the screen.
With Edie, Nick, and
Yeah, right. Sorry.
No,
Yes,
you're fine.
Andrew Smith. I don't know if you want to go stay behind the persona that is Creation Chaos.
It's all good to me. I've
Okay, all right.
I've been called that more than I've been called my real name, so that my real name sounds weird sometimes.
But yeah, Baldur's Gate coming to a television near you, and I think this is fantastic. I think that I would be less enthusiastic about it if it weren't what's his name, the guy that's doing
Craig
it.
Mazin.
If it wasn't Craig Mason, that gives
Yeah.
me some hope that it might actually be true to form and actually where it strays from the original story. Obviously, it
Well,
says it's a continuation.
yes. That's the key.
Kind of.
It's not an adaptation.
Right, but at the same time, it has to pull from the original, and for people who haven't played Baldur's Gate, that is gonna be important for
Well,
them to know.
from what I understand, it's going to be a whole new cast of characters, which I assume they'll bring in some people from the game occasionally as like cameos.
Yeah.
But like they have a lot of freedom to do whatever they want here.
They do.
Yeah.
They're not really making a Baldur's Gate show. They're just making a D&D show. It's just they're using the Baldur's Gate name to get like a little bit of that street cred.
And
Because
world, I
Larian's
guess.
not even involved.
If it's good, I don't care.
Here's the thing.
True.
So Larian's two things I want to say really quick. I think HBO, or not HBO, but Wizards of the Coast rushed to make this happen because Larian didn't want to do more DLCs. They did not want to drop the will that has been pushed towards Baldur's Gate from this. So that's aside. That's my own opinion about
I can
why
see
this
that because like Craig Mason has said that season 3 of Last of Us will be the last one, but that's not even out yet. So he's talking about his next project after the next season of the show that he's still working on. So this isn't coming anytime soon.
The second thing is Larian's not involved. From my understanding, though, is that he went down to Larian to talk to the devs about the world and what they were doing. So, like, he went down to their studio and is engaging with them to try to do his best to make, like, the story as close as possible.
Yeah. And I think I remember in some interviews he did while talking about The Last of Us, he had mentioned that he's playing Baldur's Gate 3 and really loving it. So he, he's a gamer. He played Last of Us, liked it enough to make it a TV show, played Baldur's Gate, really likes it, makes it a TV show. And he generally does good work. I think a lot of people were down on Last of Us Season 2. But I don't know. I haven't, nothing about it. It wasn't like any worse than Last of Us 2, the game.
I had multiple people who were not gamers who were making me watch Last of Us. I had promised them I would watch Last of Us because they were watching Last of Us season 2 and were so in love with it. Which, it's a hard line that you have to walk. And this is how it's been with all adaptation media from video games is you have to serve the fans. But at the same time, you have to make it interesting for people that haven't played the game, nor will they ever because they don't play games. So it's a really hard line to run. And they've gotten better at it. But I think that the first one that ever kind of sort of did it was Assassin's Creed, the movie, and even that didn't do it very well.
No,
it tried. It died better.
That movie had the potential to be something good, and then like halfway through, it goes, "No, let's just do assassin stuff," and it's like, "Oh, you stopped being interesting and became a cliche."
Right.
I can't think of off the top of my head the good ones, but I know there are a few good like game to movie adaptations.
I think,
well, not just game to movie, but game to TV. Fallout is.
I think most game to other adaptations of the past 5 years have generally been all good.
It's because what's his name isn't doing it anymore. Uwe Dole or whatever.
Uwe Boll.
Yeah.
Good old Uwe. Gotta love that guy.
And there's one movie to game adaptation that was better. I always want to throw this at X-Men Origins. Wolverine was a fantastic game that was better than the movie.
Well, that was a trash movie.
I know, but the game was not. The game was actually excellent. And I will always say that even though it's like 10 years old now. 15.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I think this is interesting.
Yeah, I will watch it. Absolutely. I'll be there preview day 1.
Vinnick, the CEO of Larian, he says it's looking promising from the conversations he had. But I had also heard that there was another person on the team who was blindsided by this and hates the idea. Like, I was looking it up. His name's Michael Cromwelp Douse. The Cromwelp is in quotations. I think it's like a nickname. And from my understanding, he is not happy about this. He does not think it's going to be good. He worked with like the writing team for the last 8 to 10 years of his life, and he knows what they can do, and like they're the best in the business. So the idea that someone else is picking up after their work, no,
I mean,
terrible.
that's understandable, right? Is if someone adapts your work and you don't have a say in it, it's like,
Yeah, that's I think less about what they can actually do and what will be done, and more about his baby just got ripped from his hands
yeah,
and is now
yeah.
being sent to somebody else to care for. You're gonna hate that new mother, you're gonna hate that new parent, no matter whether they're good or bad, just because 'cause they're different.
I
Yeah.
haven't actually watched The Last of Us, but I've heard good things about season 1, less good things about season 2.
Yeah. But like,
Me too.
look, Last of Us 2, the game, is a lesser game than Last of Us Part 1. So that tracks.
Season 3, I don't know how well it's going to do from what I heard what they're adapting. They're adapting the Abby part of The Last of Us 2,
Yeah.
and I wonder how well that's going to go. Because, I mean, that was the most criticized part about the second game, was that you
It
picked up after.
was, but it wasn't. It depends. There's a lot of interesting stuff you could do there. I think the show has the potential to like do the themes better justice than the game did.
Yeah.
Now, Last of Us, the show, does follow the story of the game, correct?
Yes, yes.
Pretty
Pretty
close.
See,
closely.
and you look at something like Fallout, which doesn't follow anything to do with the game.
Well,
It
that's also
just
because
is
like
existing within that universe and tells an interesting story within that
yeah,
universe, pulling from the things within the game, the monsters within the game, some of the people, the factions. Essentially, it sits alongside the game as opposed to actually playing out the story as written.
I think those are different too because the Fallout show is meant to be in canon with the games. So it's all meant
Mhm.
to be like of a whole, whereas Last of Us is just no, the show is different from the game. It's an adaptation.
Well, not only that, but I think the
Right.
structures of those games lend themselves very differently to what can be
Yeah.
adapted.
I
For
I,
instance,
I honestly don't remember anything about the Fallout story.
well, that's the thing is like the Fallout has always been about the world. So
Yeah.
like you can literally do anything in that world and it's important. Whereas I think what I think about The Last of Us, I haven't played 2. I played 1 though. The world's not that interesting. That's not
It
the
isn't.
interesting part.
It's a
No, it isn't.
post-apocalyptic world.
It's
That's
much
all
more
it is.
narrative driven. The Last of Us is definitely much more narrative driven than Fallout.
And it is about the characters, like Joel and Ellie and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, next item.
Next item. Let's see. What should we jump to? Well, let's jump to the other big one. AI sucks. The Steam machines
Well,
have
that's not
been
news.
delayed because AI is driving up component costs to the point where Valve said, "Yeah, when we announced it, we had different expectations for what it would cost, and now they've kind of delayed it." I believe that they've still said they want to ship it in 2026, but
Terrible idea.
yeah,
Terrible idea.
I don't believe that will be the case. I think this
Oh.
is delayed indefinitely.
Which sucks because I really, really, really want a Steam machine.
Mhm.
I
I know
really want a Steam machine.
we were talking in text about this, and I said that I think they should just wait until the next generation of consoles because
I agree.
I there's also a story about how the PS5 is actually selling pretty well, and Sony has stocked up on memory before all of this component cost exploded. So they're basically good for the price of the PS5 through 2026, through holiday 2026.
And
so
Nintendo did the same thing.
and so knowing that, like you're not going to be able to compete. They have a huge advantage of price. And if Valve can't compete with the PS5, the Steam Machine is dead in the water because no
Yeah.
one's going to pay $1,000 for this machine, but they might pay 700. If it and the PS5 Pro are equal, then that's a competition.
Well, I
But
think it's my guess is they're looking at $1,000 now for it, and which would be a shame. And it's now driven it up to $1,200, which at that point it does become unrealistic to be able to release it now.
yeah,
I
If
think.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. I think if I haven't looked at pre-builts lately, but if the Steam Deck has to be in the price range of like a lower end pre-built PC, I they're done. Like, there's no reason to get a Steam Deck when you could just go buy a
You
PC
mean a
that's
Steam
made.
machine?
A Steam machine,
Steam machine,
yes.
Mm.
Buy Steam Decks. They're good. Uh, yeah, like $1,200. I think you can still get a pre-built with that, and it would probably be better than the Steam machine.
Right. Well, the Steam machine, its unique selling point is that it is a PC, and they said that it was going to be online with an entry-level PC for
Yeah.
price-wise. But what it brings to the table that is different than a PC is the convenience of a console-like experience on a PC. Because if you try to put a PC on a TV, it's fiddly. And this is taking the fiddly out of it. And that right there, to me, is worth a premium. That being said, I don't have $1,200 to drop on
Yes.
something like that. I might be able to scrape together $800, $900, but $1,200 now for me is out of reach.
There was an interview where they were talking about just that. Like, oh, we have all the features of a console. And one of the things they mentioned was you pick up a controller, you hit the power button on the controller, and the console turns on. And they're like, that's really hard to do on a PC. And it just made me think of all the tiny little convenient factors that we take for granted with
Mhm.
It,
anything for the console, anything under the TV. The fact that, like, oh, that's a selling point. That's a selling point. We've been able to do that for like 10 years, but like that's hard for the individual working on a PC. That's a hard thing to set up and configure.
Right, and not just configure with its own controller, which is the advantage that both PlayStation and Xbox have, is that they ship with a controller. They need to be compatible with all controllers,
Yeah.
what's
so
funny,
that becomes an issue.
what I heard was you won't be able to do that unless you have a Steam machine controller,
Yeah,
because
but it's okay.
there's a uh their workaround for this was
Mhm.
literally to put a little dongle inside the casing so that when you hit the Steam machine controller, it activates that dongle, which turns on your like from a distance. It basically presses the button for you to turn on your
Yeah,
like the Steam
You
machine.
I don't care how
you're
they do
pushing a
it, just as
button
long
that
as it's
pushes
done.
another button.
Essentially, yes. Um, because it is actually a hard thing to do, and there are certain things with like HDMI, for instance, that makes when you turn on your PlayStation, it just kicks over and it talks to your TV to swap to like the input and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes,
Mhm.
I hit that button and I don't have to change the input. It does it automatically.
And that's just
Right.
because HDMI is stupid and I hate them. And they basically lock that behind proprietary software that they sell to corporations. And
Oh,
PlayStation can afford to pay that licensing
hmm.
fee, where a
Interesting.
PC can't. Like, Nvidia is not going to cover the cost to put that into their graphics cards. They
Right.
don't care. You get up and turn your PC on like a peasant. Uh,
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
but
hearing like
if
the
I can
details
do
of
that
all this. It's like, oh man, the console's really all convenient. There's just a lot of user design that goes into it that I think
yes.
is unappreciated.
Yes, that's what I've been saying. That's why I'm so excited about it, is that convenience that I don't have to fiddle with it to make it work. And the idea that I could hit a button, it switches over my TV, it turns on the console, it automatically launches into Steam. All I have to do is go to my library and hit a button and everything launches and it works perfectly. Or if I want to buy a new game, I go over to the store, I buy it on the store, I download it onto it, and I can launch it right there. And if I don't have to get up from my couch, if the only two buttons I have to hit are the power to the TV and the power to the on the controller, that's worth a premium to me because that is what a console is. It is all consoles. All they are is convenience. The difference between a PlayStation and a Steam machine is that one of them is behind a PlayStation walled garden and the PC isn't. So you've got all of the advantages of PC, including all of the prices, but you don't have to give up that kind of ease of use convenience. It just plug it in and it works.
That said, I don't want to pay $1,000 for it.
Yes, as
I don't
someone
want to pay
who
$1,000 for it. I might pay $800 for it. I might stretch to pay $900, but I can't pay $1,000. Anything more than $1,000, and then I can't do it.
as someone who's sunk an unhealthy amount of money into
Has a
PC,
PC player for whom prices are like wildly different than console players.
Yeah.
I came from playing console. I mean, that's where I met you guys. I know its use case, and I will never crap on for people wanting to do that. The biggest selling point though is price. Like knowing that if you have a 4K TV and you play on a console, you get a consistent amount of performance.
Yeah.
Playing on PC, well, near top end hardware, I never know what performance I'm going to get or how annoying it is to dial that in. And so I appreciate that. I'm curious to know how much that will be for the Steam machine. Like if you, I'm really hesitant to believe the performance claims on 4K TVs. Like I don't think that's going to be as smooth as they are implying. But aside all that, like we've been mentioning, is price. The biggest benefit to getting a console is I can go on Amazon and pay $550 and buy base PlayStation 5. And if Steam machine can't match or slightly more because it is a PC, like get ballpark for that, they're done.
Well, on the devil's advocate, the Gabe advocate here, whatever amount that I pay, I have to factor in that any game that I purchase on a PlayStation is going to cost me $60. I'm not going to find that. I'm going to pay a little bit more now to acquire the box, but everything on it is going to be very cheap. And I can purchase from places like GOG and other non-Steam locations.
That
And
gets
I
more
can have the
complicated.
Steam
So,
summer sale.
like,
That
yes,
right there would save me even whenever you're purchasing, well, when you go on to the Xbox games, the PC plan is cheaper than the console plan.
yeah.
I think this gets brought up a lot in the favor of PC, like the Steam sales, not paying for an online membership. I think most people who get consoles, this isn't a pain point. Like this isn't even like a consideration when you're really considering about, oh, am I going to buy the new PS5? It's like
True,
I'm going to
but
spend a year to pay $80 to get the online service, and I'll never think about it. And I'll buy 1 to 3 games a year that I'm going to play for most of the year. So $60 isn't as bad.
I want to play more than one game a year. And when I think about something like Where Winds Meet, where I've had this pain point regularly because I don't have a console here at the new place, and I've been playing Where Winds Meet, so I have to play it on my laptop, which is what I'm on right now, just like this, and I have to sit here like this. How many nights when I have come home from work that I want to be able to sit back and put my feet up and play on my gigantic television, that my 70-inch television that I don't need. I'm not using it for anything more than YouTube videos right now, which
You can do
is stupid.
you can do that. You can get a controller, hook up your computer to your TV and play.
Yeah,
It
get an
works.
HDMI cable.
I have an HDMI cable, but there you go. There's the convenience of it, is I have to spend 10 minutes hooking everything up
Yeah.
and making sure everything works right, and then eventually I'm gonna come across some setting that is wrong and adjust it out. It's going to be fiddly. And I don't want it to be fiddly. I just wanna sit down with a glass of wine and a bowl of spaghetti and sit at my on my coffee table and sit and play video games.
I think
And
that
right
will be.
now, I'm playing video games hunched over on my coffee table instead
I
of
think
sitting back on my big couch on my big television and playing it on console.
when I come over there later, we can try to fiddle around with this, because I think
We're not
hooking up
fiddling
your
around.
laptop to your TV will be less fiddly than you think.
Probably,
Yeah.
but it's a rabbit hole I do not have time or inclination to go through. I
The
just want to play a
issue
video game.
is initial setup. Once it's set up, you never have to think about it again.
Yeah.
I
Also,
saw-
go on.
okay,
In
I was gonna say
theory.
I built
In
a second
theory.
small PC for my living room TV. Yeah, and you basically just turn it on and it's like good to go. It's great. Before we move on really quick, I want to say it's hilarious that we no longer mention Xbox in these conversations.
Oh no,
Xbox
not at all.
is dead.
I fully okay. I actually do have. I can use that as a segue to other stuff. But I wanted to say, like, for the prices of Steam sale, has someone who regularly looks at the sales on PlayStation, they have a sale literally every month. Wait a month and you can get a AAA game for like a third of the price. Like, the sales on all the digital platforms are generally all pretty good and equivalent to each
I'm
other.
sure you'll find like Jedi Survivor for $10. Like,
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, moving on. So the Steam Machine was delayed. Sony hadn't said anything about the PlayStation 6, but last quarter of 2025, the PlayStation 5 outsold the Switch 2. So the PlayStation 5 doing very well. And in their earnings report, they said something that made me think, oh, they're not in any rush to get out a new console. They said, a hardware sales strategy can be adjusted flexibly, and we intend to minimize the impact of the increased memory costs on this segment going forward by prioritizing monetization of the install base to date and striving to further expand our software and network service revenue. Which sounds like we've sold a lot already. We're just gonna wring that
them dry.
towel a little bit more.
Right.
I foresee an increase in PlayStation Plus pricing.
Absolutely.
If maybe not the basic tier, definitely the higher end tiers. Probably less sales in general.
Which reminds me, I should cancel my PlayStation account.
But that is on the heels of this tweet that I sent you all like several weeks ago. It's from Matt Piscatella, who I think works at Circana, like one of the hardware trackers. He says, here's a wild but not surprising stat. 53% of US video game hardware buyers in Q4 25 had a household income of $100,000 a year plus, which is a record high and up from 40% in Q1 22. So basically, what that means is households making more than $100,000 a year make up half of console owners. And that's up from 40% of console owners from a couple years ago.
From my understanding, I understood that as this year, people who made $100,000 or more bought more consoles than they did last year.
So that's also true. It's both. The average price of video game hardware in the US was $373 in 2002 and jumped to $446 in 2025. Over that same period, the percent of video game hardware buyers that had household incomes under $50,000 fell from 31% in 22 to 19% in 25. So basically what that means is lower income households are getting a smaller and smaller segment of the overall sales. Higher income households are becoming a bigger and bigger segment. The whole thing is becoming very top heavy, where the earners over $100,000 are basically supporting the entire industry. And that's why you're seeing everyone raise prices because if you got a console, you can fucking afford it.
I think like I remember when we were talking about this, the stats that you gave me, unless you were going to continue on with that.
No, go on.
It seemed to me like on the like lower income side, there was a more install base on with consoles. So basically, like the majority of their market was low income earners, like people below 50,000, which is crazy to think of as low income, but in this day and age it is. And that segment had decreased like drastically this last year.
Yeah,
Versus
well, from 22 to 25.
From for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And the mid range between the 50 and the 100,000 also decreased some amount too. But the top end 100,000 higher increased by like 3%. So
Yes.
like it is becoming top heavy, but not to like I think the benefit of PlayStation. They are losing way more people, like way more sales on the low end because people
I
can't afford
think
it.
you're right because their whole business model is predicated on, right? We take a loss on hardware so that we make it up with taking a cut of software sales. That means they need a bunch of people buying software. But if that install base lowers, and yet, like I said, because they had a bunch of price cuts for the holidays, and so the last quarter of 2025, PlayStation 5 did sell really, really well. So I think that they see these stats and they're like, okay, we can't put out a PlayStation 6 that's $1,000, which is why I speculate that we won't see a new console until at least like 2030.
No,
We won't hear about it until then. So Valve has time to spare. And if Xbox puts out a piece of hardware, I will eat this microphone.
I think they will, but it's
I
going.
do not think so.
It's not going to be an Xbox. They've mentioned plenty. It's going to be a Steam machine. It is going to be an Xbox equivalent.
What's crazy is they're doing what Valve did like a decade ago. I think they want other people to make a console and they can slap the Xbox name on it.
I think it's because the returns for software have always been much larger.
Yeah,
and they want that 30% margin.
But like, I don't foresee even with. Okay, wait. Back up. I'm tripping over myself. The Xbox revenue dropped year over year, even with them going multi-platform, even with them raising the price of Game Pass, their revenue like shrunk 30%. So like their software sales are plummeting.
But do we know if their profit increased?
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Okay.
No, it was negative 30. That was the whole point, is that it went down even with all the stuff they're working on, which is why I don't think there will be an Xbox in 2030.
Because with me, revenue means like their operating costs added into that and stuff.
No, revenue is just how much money they bring in. It's not. It depends on if it's gross revenue, but if it's usually net revenue, they will say net revenue as opposed to gross.
That's what I meant. But like, if they were able to lower their costs in general, like they might have made more profit, even with a loss of revenue. I didn't read the article, so I'm not sure if that happened. But if you
I don't think they're talking about profit. I don't think they want to mention the word profit because I don't think they've had a profit in years.
I would say so. It really depends on the AI bubble and if that bursts. But if it bursts like this year, I could see PlayStation 6 as early as 2028.
Yes, that is true. Yeah,
they would make the plan, and then at sometime in 2027, we would start to see the fall off from RAND pricing and like the craziness that's been happening, because it's been increasing so much like this year that anyone who is prepping for a new console, some new hardware, right? They're buying a year or two out.
Yeah.
And so PlayStation would miss that window. So they wouldn't have any purchasing until 2027 and then go into production probably 2028. So you might see one by the end of the year. That would be my best guess if the bubble pops this year.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, who knows when?
Who knows when? And if it does pop, like, will Microsoft, who has invested so heavily into AI, cut the whole Xbox division loose as a way to try to save money on the balance sheet?
Yeah, I'm not.
Will
It's
they
such a hard call.
cut off that arm to like save the body of the company?
Which is crazy because it has been profitable.
Yes,
Xbox,
it has.
it was I
Yeah.
think 12 to 20% profitability, and they just wanted to double that, like on the low end.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think PlayStation's going to have one of its best console selling years this year, if what they're saying is true. If they can keep the price down, it will become the only high performing machine that will
Yeah.
be affordable. It will be the only option because Xbox has already raised their prices twice on their like Xbox like models, and you'd be making a terrible decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tough time to be a gamer.
By the
it
way,
is.
I am listening even though I'm not on screen. I wanted to thank you for bringing up PlayStation because my PlayStation subscription renews tomorrow, and I was able to cancel it, so I saved myself $80.
Good, good.
Oh, so
And yeah, hi, Chris. Hi, Ashley.
oh. And yes, bitter. It is Andrew. I think if that's what you were meaning.
Oh, bitters.
Is that
Yeah, no.
Andrew?
You can tell by the annoying whistle in my voice.
Okay. Well, speaking of PlayStation.
Well, wait a minute. Let me do a story.
Oh,
Oh no,
well,
you
okay.
do speak. You're speaking of PlayStation. You've had a segue.
Speaking
You've
of
segued me out of
PlayStation,
this. Thank you.
they announced their Horizon multiplayer game, and I watched 5 minutes of the video before the podcast, but I wasn't listening very closely, so I don't know a whole lot about it. It's called Horizon Hunter Gatherers. It's a 3-player multiplayer game. I did a very poor job. I'm a terrible podcaster. I did not watch this video very closely, so I
Okay.
have no idea what this game is about.
So I know some about it.
Okay.
I just want to curse for a second because what the fuck is Sony doing with the Horizon franchise? I
think this is leftover remnants from the last from their big live service push several years ago. This is like one of the few games that didn't get canceled.
But there's 2 of these. What are they doing? So I don't know. So there are
It's
2
Hunters
Horizon.
Gathering, by the way, not Hunters Gatherers. But
Oh, that's right. Yeah, God, I don't like that name.
This is a character-based Monster Hunter game, essentially, or Dauntless if you played that. You choose a pre-made character that has a certain weapon and abilities, and you take it in on a hunt. And as you go through, you fight various bosses and try to collect resources and experience.
Okay.
And you level up your character, you level up your stats, and then you go fight harder stuff. It is Monster Hunter, it is Dauntless, but with a Horizon world with anime cartoon graphics.
Yes, it's very, very Fortnite-y.
And I was watching a YouTube channel called Skill Up, and I agree with this assessment that it loses a lot of its charm, Horizon, when you remove the details of the monsters. And due to the anime stylistic of this game, they don't look as intricate or
interesting.
real. They look like weird anime robot creatures. Which is weird because actually anime robot things are cool. But yeah, it's
what is the name of that mobile game that all the celebrities are selling right now? Like Royal something.
Lash
Shadow
Royale?
Legends?
No. It's Royal
Rumble.
where you're supposed to save a king. It's all over television. It's all these celebrities trying to sell you this mobile game. Royal something.
Royale.
No, it wasn't Royal Royale. It's Royal something. Royal Kingdom, Royal something. That's what this looks
Every
like. It
game
looks
that
like
we've
it should be
named
a
is
mobile game.
out there.
Yeah,
I,
it looks like it should be a mobile game.
Yeah.
I don't want to crap on anyone who's gonna like this. This is fine. It's just
And like the premise of let's do a hero-based Monster Hunter is at least like, hey, let's take two things and mash them together. Like, I understand how you get there.
and with the gameplay like loop that Horizon has, it's not bad.
Yeah,
You literally do this.
Yeah, Horizon's all about like fighting the big T-Rex and knocking the gun off of its shoulder so that you can pick up the gun and use it. Like, there's a very Monster Hunter aspect to that combat.
And I want to throw this out because like Bitter Plus mentions like this game looks okay. If you like the game, that's perfectly fine. Like there's nothing wrong with like there's a lot of hard work that I'm sure went into this game. My question is like Sony has made a Lego game, a VR game, two live service games. What in their balance sheet has made Horizon look like such a solid investment that they've made 4 games of varying degrees of quality and type in the last 3 to 4 years?
I think it's because Horizon is quietly one of their best-selling games. I think Horizon, from the critical perspective, always is kind of known for always being overshadowed by something else. The first game came out, and then Breath of the Wild came out and kind of ate its lunch. Then the second one came out, and then Elden Ring came out
Rip.
and ate its lunch. But like quietly, those games have sold an absolute fuck ton. Like, it is a huge franchise for them.
Also, I guess they also came out with the remaster for the first one.
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot to
yeah.
mention that.
And for what it's worth, that VR game is like pretty cool. It's a pretty cool VR game.
Yeah, no, I don't have like necessarily a problem with the like quality of the products. We haven't seen the mobile game. We haven't seen this gathering game. They've gone all in on so many like avenues for this game. It's kind of shocking.
I think this is when we talk about like how long games take to make. I think Horizon 2 came out, sold really well, even in the shadow of Elden Ring. And the current leadership of Sony at that time was like, let's take advantage of this and let's there's a word for it. Like, what is it? When you expand an IP, like let's milk that IP. And so they started working on all these other games.
Capitalize.
And yeah, and then like the world kind of moved on and Sony was like, "Oh shit, we're stuck with these things that we don't really want." But the Horizon game, I assume this is the best of what their live service games were offering. That's why it came out and didn't get canceled, because something about it was at least good enough that they thought, yeah, maybe we can make some money off of this.
I also question the decision to make 2 Horizon live service games.
What was the other one?
I know it's the mobile game. Is this one?
That,
I don't know if
did
it's
that come
mobile.
out?
No, I believe it might have gone into like beta or something. Steel Frontiers.
Oh.
That's not even coming to PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Well, that
interesting
one's
decision.
oh, that one's developed by NCSoft. Okay.
Yes,
That kind
and
of
that one's going to
explains
be
a lot.
PC and mobile. But 2 live service Horizon games seems like you're eating your own lunch there. Like what are you thinking? Best of luck to them. Like I hope people enjoy it. I hope the people who want to play it like it and it gets a chance to go do well. No reason to hope for the game to fail. I have no like hate for it. It's just weird. Sony's just weird.
Steel Frontiers is supposed to come out this year. I guess it was unveiled November 25 with the scheduled launch 26. I had forgotten this game existed.
Yeah. I honestly thought this Hunter Gatherers was the Steel Frontiers for a moment.
Look at there. Huh.
Could it be somebody's boyfriend or girlfriend that is involved with it? Because you're right, they have put out so many, and maybe it's because I really didn't get into Horizon Zero Dawn originally, But it does seem odd that even with their more popular franchises, even if they're bigger franchises, they didn't lean this hard into it.
Yeah.
I think that's because, and I'll at least give them credit for this. Horizon is a relatively new, successful IP for them. Like the PlayStation 5 generation has kind of been defined by rehashing old IPs. Of
True.
here's a remaster. Here's a
True.
new version of God of War.
Mhm.
Horizon, even though it started on PS4, it's like one of their newest big new IPs. And so for an industry that seems to just have a real hard time creating new IPs, I appreciate them like pushing a new IP, pushing a new world, like trying to create something new. And I think that first game is really awesome with like one of the best story twists I've seen in a sci-fi story. I loved it.
I still need to play
But
through it all.
they might be pushing it a little hard. I think they overestimated how much people like that world. It was a fun game to be in, a fun world to play in, but once it's over, it's kind of like Avatar, where when you're watching an Avatar movie, you're like, this is cool, man. Those flying dragons, that's cool. Boy, that 3D is good. And then you leave the theater and you're like, that's a good movie. But you don't think about it afterwards.
Right. You don't
You-
go, I can't wait to the next Avatar movie.
Yeah. You're like, I want to go home and play with my Avatar action figures. Like, no, you just that's a cool movie. I'm glad I saw it, and you kind of move on. And I think that's what this game is, and they're hoping to kind of change that, but it's a really hard thing to change. It's a really hard thing to like get people to want to stay in a world when they're happy to just move on to something else.
I can't wait to get home to play Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Said no
Yeah,
one.
right.
Said it, no one.
I wonder if this is a remnant of Sony culture that existed with like the PS2 era, where like you had God of War, which became kind of the face of PlayStation, and
Yeah.
there was a lot more like noticeable IPs for PlayStation that kind of became its like calling card. Whereas like as we move into the new generation, the later half of the PS4 and the PS5 in general, we have Ghost of Tsushima, we have Horizon, and we have Last of Us. And these are the only three IPs that they've really done anything with, and the Ghost series is relatively new. So we have Horizon and Last of Us, and they have nothing else. And they really want to focus on that culture of like IP and like, oh, we're cool. And so
But
they've
why
just
didn't they do this with Last of Us? They didn't really do this kind of churn with Last of Us, and it makes me afraid for Ghost of Tsushima that they would do this kind of
Well,
churn for
I
Tsushima.
the multiplayer expansion they put out for Tsushima was really good. If they put something like that out for Yotai, I might like that more than I like Yotai itself. So, bring on the live service Yotai game, I
I
say.
forgot about that. I
And
love
also,
that
and
too.
also, Last of Us, way back on the PS3, shipped with a multiplayer mode that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, rest in peace,
Where, like,
the live service
It
multiplayer
was
mode.
it was a like gritty game where you were crafting ammunition and bombs mid-match, just like I'm gonna chuck a grenade over here and I'm gonna pick up all this stuff and try to craft another grenade so I can
I
chuck
don't
it at you.
remember that. I remember the
Because-
Ghost of Tsushima
because
multiplayer,
no
but I
one-
don't remember.
No one played it, but the people that played it thought it
They
was
were
really
loved
cool.
it.
And they were working on a live service Last of Us game, but it eventually got canceled because Naughty Dog realized if we make this,
It's
we
the
are
whole studio.
stuck making this. The whole studio has to support this for the next 20 years. And like, we kind of don't want that.
Also, I want to throw out like something that we talked about just a little bit ago with the Fallout versus Last of Us like conversation. That exists here too. You can only do so much with the Last of Us world because it's so character and narrative driven.
True.
Versus
Yeah.
It's not
Horizon,
really a world. Yeah.
which has alloy, but like it is a world. It is
Yeah.
the world is what's important. So you can make more properties. And I forgot Nathan Drake, for instance. He was the PS3,
Yeah.
PS4 era. He's gone. They're not doing anything with that. So like I'm wondering if this is
And
just
that's sort of what's with Tsushima, is that Tsushima's world is interesting, don't get me wrong, but it's not a unique world.
it's
It's
Japan.
feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if like all of this Horizon push is just we're not making any new IP. We don't have a wide stable of IP to work with, and Horizon's the only like real world one.
True.
I could believe that. It's the only world they have to work with.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, good
And
point.
yeah, I think there was a live action Horizon being made.
Oh, yeah. C-Cell
I
said,
don't know what
isn't
happened.
HBO making a live action Horizon? I believe that was Netflix.
Yes,
I think it
believe
was
it's
under
Netflix.
Netflix. There was some like crazy bullshit around it, and it got like rebooted. It's kind of stuck in development hell.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm looking at it right now.
AI, Google AI, just for a quick thing, says it should start production in 2026, 2027 for a 2027 release.
Okay. when I googled Horizon Netflix, it gave me the Kevin
Kevin
Costner
Costner. Yeah.
Horizon Western movie.
Sony's really been leaning into their live action IP stuff too. We got God of War being made on Amazon.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
T.
true.
Race brings up Edie's past relationship theories include episode 655. Edie says Activision boss was in love with Frances Townsend.
Who's Francis Townsend?
She's the one that when all the sexual harassment stuff came out, she was like, these women don't know what they're saying, even though she was like in charge
right.
of like the
Yeah, and Frances Townsend was actually a
Mm.
woman empowering, used to be a woman empowering figurehead. And yeah.
and she was like, no, the CEOs did nothing. This is all lies and all that. And then it came out that there was more like news about it, and she got scapegoated hard.
Yeah. Well, she should have,
Yeah.
because she was fucking him. You know it. I know it.
Or not allegedly. I don't know what's
yeah, the heart
legal
does
version
not
of this.
stand for in love. Your statement was more physical. Yeah, I can see it. I would never say anything like that. How dare you?
But yeah, that's my theory about why Horizon, I guess, having just talked it through, is why it's become so prevalent for them.
Yeah, I like that theory that it's kind of all they have to work with.
Mhm. All right, moving on, because we're now getting 1:45.
That's
Mhm.
always happens, Edie, when I show up.
I knew I shouldn't have brought you on. I knew
That's
I
what,
shouldn't have
hey,
brought
for
you
what
on.
it's worth, I'm out of news other than one really fun stat that
Then
will take
hold off and
a
let me
minute.
hit my stories.
Okay.
So remember we talked, was it last week that we talked about how generative AI can't make games, and Google had this AI genie that would create worlds that you could just use from a prompt, and it would create something you could walk around in for 30 seconds, and that's
It's
not a
60, but
game.
yeah.
Well, it took Roblox all of about 3 seconds to launch a new service called where's my notes here? What did they call it? Called a generative AI tool that works exactly like Google's Project Genie. And when they made the reveal of this new feature, the real announcement is the impending release of their 4D generation tech, a feature for the Cube Foundation model that allows quote unquote creators and players to generate fully functional objects that then can be ported into Roblox. And in their reveal, when they showed it, they actually showed a scene that was made by their new tool that looks exactly like locations and people in Clair Obscura 33.
Yep.
The including part of the message, it's
always ripping off.
a woman in a glowing cave prompt that had a very much a look of Clair Obscura Expedition 33 to generate its real-time dreaming world. And a user who saw that actually pointed out and said, hey, You not only used the Flying Waters location and Mael's model in this reveal, have you talked to Sandball Games about this? Of course, they did not say anything about it, but apparently they have launched the equivalent of that in Roblox that will allow people to make their own items and locations to put into Roblox games
Make
so
their
that
own,
they
meaning
can rip
rip off
off
the
other
assets.
games.
I mean, this mirrors just what happened with Genie. Genie can now not use any like Disney characters. People started making Mario worlds and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and Nintendo
Yeah.
had to come out of the workgroup and be like, "Stop." I'm
I'm
gonna
really
admit it here.
surprised Roblox did this, especially in their, and it wasn't like somebody else used it and put it up on YouTube. This was their own reveal.
Yeah.
They showed this themselves, saying, look what you can do with it, and put up something that was, for all intents and purposes, Clair Obscura.
It's not copyright infringement if it's not my copyright. If I own the IP, you better not use it. But everyone else is fair game.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that Roblox doesn't really have an IP look to it because it's all user-generated content anyway. So
they have
they're
those,
essentially they're giving their users the tools to do all of the things that everybody wants to do and is going to be afraid to get sued, and they can just make the money off of it, step back and say, hey, it wasn't us. We
There's
didn't
that
do it.
like wannabe Lego character that's Roblox, right? That's like a guy in a red shirt who's kind of their mascot.
Sort of, but I
Can we
don't.
create an AI video of him like fucking a goat and like put that
I think
on
you can just
the
go into
Roblox
Roblox and
X
find
account?
You probably can. They probably would like that. Would consider it a compliment.
They've already made it.
Yes.
They have.
I'm gonna be brave here. I'm gonna say this. I don't think AI is good for us. This is hard for me to admit openly and in public. I think it is doing maybe, just maybe, bad things.
Yeah.
I
Get
know.
off
I
this
know.
podcast.
Just kicked.
Yeah.
I think I'm not surprised that it's happening. I'm just really surprised that less than a week after Nick and I talked about this, that Roblox just, they didn't just think about it. They leaned all the way in
Mhm.
and then released it themselves to show, hey, rip off any game.
Okay, so I think
It's just shameless.
Well, I mean, consider this. I don't think this is about the actual tool. I'm pretty sure this is just an investor play. You get
Probably.
to do this, and you get to be like, hey, look. And even if they get takedown notices behind closed doors, they can be like, hey, look what we can do. We can't
Mhm.
do that, but we are making tools that can do this, so invest in us. Which
Right.
is
Probably true.
basically just all AI is right now. It's just, hey, look what we can do, invest in us.
That's true.
Invest in us.
AI is like an investor scam. That's what it is.
So
It's
yeah,
just trying to scam money out of investors.
hey, Google releases the Genie or whatever, and all the stock prices for games fall. Then you get the
Mhm.
one user-generated platform, Roblox, and they're like, we did it too. And it's the opposite of making all other games like fall because we're user-generated. So
Right.
we can really use this tech, so invest in us.
Right. True. It is kind of ironic that I'm just thinking about Roblox and how Roblox is right outside of Nick's window, and I'm looking out here, and PlayStation is right outside of my window.
Wait, does that mean I'm on Roblox's side? I don't want to be on Roblox's
I didn't
side.
Hey,
say anything
you're
about sides. It's just
cosplaying the main
ironic that we're
character.
here.
Oh yeah, I am. I could
That's how much.
just walk inside and cause some corporate espionage.
Go fuck a goat, will you?
And AC Wright says, meanwhile, YouTubers are set copyright claims constantly, even when it's fair use.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. We are the low-hanging fruit.
Nothing's
My
broken,
next
guys.
item
No.
is
Oh.
so Build a Rocket Boy. They did MindsEye. It was shipped arguably,
Was it
some
shipped?
say broken. Well, it was released arguably broken. There's a new claim, and they haven't gone down quietly. Normally, when someone puts out a bad game, they just take their lumps and try to make it better.
CEO
But
lost the plot.
Mark Gerhardt, the co-CEO of MindsEye, developer builder Rocket Boy, this week, man, he just runs his mouth. He has stated that a quote unquote very big American company called Ritual Network, which is a YouTube and TikTok management agency, that's currently based in the United Kingdom. He said that they're behind a more than $1 million campaign to continue smearing MindsEye, that it was an actual conspiracy to destroy and smear MindsEye in a campaign to try to destroy it. He specifically mentions a YouTuber named Cyberboy as one of the influencers involved in the smear campaign. And he also did say that there was sabotage within the company, espionage, quote unquote, espionage, sabotage, and criminal interference. And he said that that the police have been called and heads are going to roll and people are going to serve time in prison for what they did to MindsEye.
Have you ever seen a CEO go full Karen? Like,
Yeah.
this is nuts. This is so
Yeah.
unhinged.
It's so.
It is. It is.
It would be
Unless it's
sad.
true. Unless
it's-
it's true.
It's
Which I'm not
true.
saying it is.
It's not. I'm going to say
But it's so unhinged that it's
his
like, if
version
it
of
were untrue,
sabotage. What he imagines as sabotage is just people honestly saying this game is shit.
yeah.
You know what the biggest red flag for this game was?
I just want to say,
The developers saying that it was an absolute shit show to work on and nobody could make a decision and nobody knew what they were trying to do and nobody gave any clear direction. And when the developers went to them and say, hey, we have a problem, this is not a great game, they were shut down. That's
Not that.
the red flag.
That is a red flag. But go ahead, Nick.
Oh, no, you finish.
Oh, I was going to say the biggest red flag to me was when they announced MindsEye at, like, I think the Game Awards or something, and they were like, this comes out in 3 months. And I was like, this big budget, AAA, head of Rockstar like game that's its first coming out had a 3-month advertisement window where, like, even in the 3 months after the Game Awards, there was nothing. Like, that is such a major red flag because it means that there is no money for advertising, which
Yeah.
generally means that there was no money to make the game or
Right.
there's nothing important to show.
By the way, I do want to mention that Ritual Network, who is a real company, like I said, in the UK, not a very big American company, but they're a very big UK company and very big, debatable. They're kind of like, what? We have nothing to do with this. The YouTube influencer Cyberboy is like, what? I had nothing to do with this. So everybody's kind of a little.
I imagine that
happening.
Ritual Network is like a influencer group, right? They're a management.
No, it's an
group.
agency. No, Ritual Network
is an agency
is a company
for
based in Scunthorpe, North Lincolnshire, and its registered address. It employs fewer than 20 individuals, and its publicly available tax returns state that its net assets in February 2025, 4 months before MindsEye's release, were somewhere around £800,000.
Yeah, I'm saying it's just an agency for influencers, and
It's an
what
influencer
I think
agency.
is the scary part of this whole thing is that this guy is he's playing the trump card, which is I'm going to go after people who criticize me. I'm going to go after the influencers who said bad things about the bad things that I did and try to get them shut down. That's what this is that it's not a conspiracy. It's that I think he picked, I think Cyberboy also pointed out that Leslie Benzies is mentioned in the Epstein files. Maybe like not a whole bunch, not as much as Elon Musk, but he's mentioned. He mentioned that in the Discord, and then the CEO said, I'm threatening legal action for you. This is a cease and desist.
Mhm.
I think he's going after Ritual Network because Cyberboy is like an outspoken critic and said this is a bad game. And so he's going after his ad agency, his agency specifically to try to shut down criticism.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing good faith about this. And if anything about this goes further, like, then that speaks about how the UK's legal system is fucked. Like this is full on abuse the legal process playbook.
Mhm.
Pulling back from that
And
slightly. Go ahead.
and well, he also said that the what was it? That the people or entities involved in this espionage, sabotage, and criminal interference, quote, will all be served in-person criminal complaints shortly. So, not just you're right. It does very much sound. Remember when trump card meant a winning hand instead of just like mindlessly throwing shit around and trying to
Instead of
scare
just
everyone
suing
with
people because they can't pay for it, but you can.
right. It's called a
So-
slap suit.
Yeah.
What's the play here? Like stepping back from like his own personal issues, is the goal to make like MindsEye more appealable? Because
I
like
don't-
it's still
I-
bad.
No, this
I
is
think-
this is
I
this is
think-
not about MindsEye. This is now about ego.
This is yes.
I
this
didn't make
is-
a bad game. You're the bad game.
This is the new meaning of trump card. This has no larger plan other than revenge.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
'Cause,
I'm
like-
angry and I'm going to throw a temper tantrum.
So for
This
what
is
it's worth, CEO of MindsEye, fuck a goat.
Right along with Roblox.
Yeah.
Who's fucking who?
I don't see this. Like, even if they come out with a new game, I don't see them recovering.
Oh
They have,
no,
like-
Bill the Rocket Boy is after this, that company is a joke.
Yeah.
They are an absolute joke.
Yeah. They're
Leslie Benzies needs to like extract himself from that company as much as possible, as fast as possible, because it is an anchor around his reputation.
Hey,
Yeah.
if he's doing that, can he go over to 2K and take Randy Pitchford with him, please? That's unrelated. I just really don't like that guy, and he can leave too.
I mean, to be fair, Randy Pitchford never hit people with a slap lawsuit.
Well, he's saying criminal, and slap suits are usually civil, but he's saying criminal. And I don't
He's saying criminal because in his mind it's criminal.
right, it's criminal. Right. Which just shows more of what an idiot he is.
Yes.
So my last item is so Switch Online has been adding consoles to their catalog.
Mhm.
New Nintendo Switch Online reports has revealed the next 3 consoles that are going to be added to the subscription service. One of which is a Nintendo console. So the 3 are the Sega CD, also known as the Mega CD, the Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo Wii. Actually, why are we saying there's only one of which
Oh.
isn't a Nintendo product? So the Sega CD, the Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo Wii are all coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. The new report does not specify which are coming out when or even in which order it's coming out, but previous reporting from other sources claim that the Nintendo DS is the next mainline console that's going to come on, which doesn't leave the door open for the Sega CD to come first at all, or even the Wii. So yeah, see, Nintendo DS, is it's widely suspected, is going to be the first, and then we're going to see those two.
It's
And I
interesting
don't
the
have a Switch,
Sega
so
consoles
I
are
don't
coming
care.
out.
But it is something that is kind of cool that we're starting to see a bunch of these legacy consoles and the games that are associated with them starting to come to this online service that seems more robust than any other online service because they have more consoles to work with.
I think the DS will do really well. I think they're
Yeah.
gonna hit a lot of nostalgia for people because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
before the Switch 2 or the Switch 1, it was the highest like console bought, in this case handheld, but like it had sold like 10 million units or something like that. I forget
Yeah.
what it was.
And also, I
Just
mean,
the 10
it's the
boxes.
third, the DS was the third biggest console of any kind in the history of consoles.
That's
The
it. Yeah.
biggest being the
Mhm.
Nintendo Switch at 155 million, the PS2 at 160 million. This sold 154 million.
Hmm.
So, and it also, I mean, you think about the games that were on the DS, they're some of the most iconic games in the, you know, in Nintendo's world. Super Mario Brothers, Mario Kart DS, Nintendogs, Brain Age, a bunch of really, really games that didn't compete with any of the other consoles. They were played in conjunction with all the other consoles.
I'm curious to see how they adapt the Wii because the Switch has the gyroscopes in its controller, so it can do the
Mhm.
motion sensing, but it
Mhm.
doesn't have the pointer, but it does have mouse functionality. So there's like
We'll see.
there's some
Apparently,
interesting
we will
things
see
it
because
could
it's coming.
do. Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how they interpret all that.
I find it very fascinating that they're doing the Sega CD,
Yeah.
which seems very much out there. Like, it does not surprise me they're bringing the DS. Does not surprise me they're bringing the Wii. Sort of surprises me that they're leaning into the Sega CD. Because it's just, well, first off, it wasn't a Nintendo product, but also it's not as it wasn't as big as the DS or the Wii. It wasn't as mind-blowing, or dare I say, use the word twice, iconic as far as consoles are concerned.
I wonder if it's them testing the waters for like alternative retro games because the whole point of bringing the consoles to the Switch Online is, hey, here's a way to play retro games, and they did it with all the, you know, old Nintendo consoles. So now they're
Mhm.
kind of testing, can we do it with the old Sega consoles?
Right. And remember that the Sega CD, I don't know if you're aware, that it wasn't really its own console. It was a CD-ROM peripheral for the Sega Genesis.
Oh, was it? Huh.
Yeah. So it was
And if it
released in
does well, Sega
91,
Genesis
but
is
only
coming
in
next.
Japan, and it didn't come to the United States or anywhere west of that until 92. But it did have Sonic CD, Snatcher, Lunar, the Silver Star, and it's best known for popularizing the full motion video games, including, like, you know, the biggest one of that whole generation, Night Trap.
Hmm.
So it's not even really a, you know, its own console. It's actually peripheral for a console that was necessary to play some games.
Testing the waters. They're dipping their
Yeah.
toe into the Sega
Yep.
Sega waters.
Yep. So, yeah, that is the last of mine.
Okay.
So let's hit your quick one.
I will end with some fun statistics. It has been a year since Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out,
Mm-hmm.
and the developer Warhorse has released some stats about all the player base and what we've done as a collective gaming society. Turns out we are a bunch of psychopaths.
This does not surprise me in the least.
So there are some stats of like, oh, we've brewed about 70 million potions, eaten about 50 million apples, blah, blah, blah. What I think is fun is we have collectively killed 452.8 million NPCs, which is more than the estimated population of the world in the 15th century.
By a lot. By a whole lot.
So we have killed the world a dozen times over.
Mm-hmm.
But of those, 97.5 million, no, of those murders, of that, 452.8 million, 504 million were performed drunk.
Okay. To our credit, all those NPCs, most of them hit us first.
They deserved it.
They kind of deserved it. They ambushed us on the road, and they threw the first punch in the
Mhm.
bar,
And
in
look,
the pub.
most of those, we were stone cold sober.
Most
knew
of them
what
were
we were
stone cold
doing.
sober. Right, exactly.
I feel no guilt. That was a fun statistic, I thought.
Yeah.
I still need to finish that game, so I've still got people to kill in that
I still
world.
have to get out of the entry area of that game, and I'm gonna bring over my console to my TV soon. But when I do that, Where Winds Meet's gonna go out the window. Not gonna
I'm
be
telling
playing
you,
it.
that opening area is a full-length game in and of itself.
It is. It very much is.
I think we should
So.
put that on Nick's headstone as a quote. Nick DiNicola, I feel no guilt.
I was stone cold sober. I feel no guilt.
Most of the time.
Oh yeah.
All right. So
Oh yeah.
anything
I guess
else?
there was a short news story about Ubisoft held a town hall to talk about, Ubisoft,
Yeah.
and no one was happy.
Yeah.
I think it was described as a masterclass in dodging questions.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of the Destiny all hands where someone was like, "So are you guys gonna take pay cuts?" We're not that company. We're not that kind of company.
Yeah. Yves Guillemot. What an asshole. Right up there. He needs to fuck a goat as well.
There was the small news story that the union rep for Ubisoft developers says that he needs to be fired. He needs to step down. They're calling for it.
He should. He should.
He should.
Given
he has
that
halved
all
the
of this
company
has
in the last
happened,
7 years.
Yeah, he's overseen the downfall of the company.
And the rise.
Yeah, but
he got the full cycle.
Right.
Oh,
he rose it, but I mean, it's
Look,
you're
you
only
either die a
really
hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. Well,
Turns
he
out
has.
Batman, that quote is
That's
shit,
evergreen.
man. It is
That's
evergreen.
Guillemot's entire career. All right. So any other items before we close out the show, gentlemen?
I believe that
I would love
was
you to say yes.
all
And
I
I mean, I
had.
would love
I'll
you to
help
say
you,
no.
Edie. I brought no news this time just for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I still do have to do a little cleanup and I have to do some food prep for dinner tonight. Either that.
I think we already talked about Sophie Turner as Laura Croft.
Nick.
Oh,
What a shame. Nick just got muted. You just keep talking, Nick. We're listening. We're absolutely listening to everything you say right now.
We can hear to the goat. That's
we
crazy.
can hear every word you're saying, Nick. Every single word you're saying. I don't think he realizes I muted him.
Oh, he has.
No, he hasn't realized it. How long is he going to talk? You have. Oh, okay.
Keep talking because you unmuted me. Hallelujah. I'm going to keep reading this card that PC gaming graphics are basically rounding it.
Nope. All right. So on that note, let's close this out.
Actually, I do want to point that out that AC just linked. Apparently, 1 in 4 developers have been laid off in the last 2 years, and across the entire industry.
Yeah.
You don't have to go too far into it. It's just terrible. It is the opposite of the fun Nick statistic. This is the terrible Andrew statistic.
I was trying to end things on a happy note.
No, you
we
weren't.
don't get that in gaming anymore.
End things.
I was trying to end things on a happy note of murder.
Anyways.
Well, let's end it on the happy note of actually ending the show. All right?
Yes.
Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 808. We did record this on Sunday, February 8, 2026. I'm Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith, aka Creation Chaos. Ways to get a hold of us: gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific. Sorry, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern here on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch. On Facebook and Twitch, we are the GameHounds. On YouTube, we're GameHounds Vids, V-I-D-S, as in videos. Please join us live if you can. We would love to have you. It's a really good time in the chat room. Everybody was here. Thank you to everybody who was here. AC Rape, thank you for being our link bitch. If we mentioned something that you wanted to find an article about or find any background on, please go to any of those sites, look in the comments. Right about that same time that we're talking about it, the links to it will be in the comments, courtesy of AC Wraith. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for doing that. If you would like to interact with us when we're not here, well, first way you can do it is you can listen to the podcast. We do release this as an actual podcast, and yes, I have been editing it. So gentlemen and ladies and everyone in between and not anywhere near that, feel free, if you listen to us as a podcast, join us live or check us out after the fact on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch and listen, and you will hear more content than what you're hearing on the podcast. You can find, again, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can always scroll back and listen to where those links are. Now, if you are listening as a podcast, please, I'm going to make sure the music's still going. Yeah, it is. If you're listening as a podcast, please, please, please leave us some feedback. The algorithm absolutely loves it when you actually interact with the show. Like us, subscribe to us, and leave us a message and let us know how we're doing. And if you want to interact with us live, you can do it through our Discord. Our Discord information is available pretty much at any of those locations. If you're watching on the screen right now, it's on the screen as we speak. And if you would like to help support us, $1 a month is all we ask. Thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters. We're patreon.com/GameHounds. 25 cents a week. It helps us pay for things. So we would really appreciate if we would actually subscribe. And if you can, we are so thankful for you doing it. And thank you again to all of the patrons for doing that. Have a great week, everyone. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
I'm going to be edited out of the podcast.
No. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We will talk to you next week. I am going to go start prepping for food and start finishing washing dishes and getting stuff ready because there's still boxes and stuff from me moving. I'm still moving stuff in. So I literally have boxes in the house that I want to move. I also have to. Oh, Nick, are you muted? I think you're muted. I haven't muted you. So maybe something's going on with your headset. Chaos. Thank you for being here and being a third on here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me show up.
Anytime.
Right. Nick, I will see you in a few hours. 3:30 is when the game starts, so anytime before that. And take some time to find some parking because parking is not as bad as your old place.
Okay.
But it's close.
Okay.
You might have to park at the mall across the street and walk over. And I will send you.
Okay.
I don't know if you have my address, but I'll send you my address.
Oh, yes. Yeah, send that to me.
All right. Bye, Chaos. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.